If you are buying your first detached home in Absford, this is the best leverage you've had in years. The real estate stats are finally on your side. Prices are falling, inventory is rising, and buyers are in full control of the Absford detached market. Let's break down what all of these statistics mean for you. Hi, I'm Gary Dhindsa and I'm an Absford realtor. My only ask is if you find today's content valuable, please go ahead and hit the like button and subscribe button so we can keep bringing more content like this to you. Also, if you want to book a meeting with my team and I, all you have to do is click the first link in the description below. So let's start with the Absford detached market. The Absford detached market is representing a buyer's market at 11.6%. Days on market are 22 and months of inventory sits at 8.6. The other things to note for the Abbey detached market is sales were down by 26% in June in comparison to May. The average sale price of the Abbey detached home was also down by 9% month over month. Interestingly, it's not a surprise that area that recorded the most detached sales in Abbotsford. East Abbotsford had about 31 sales in June, while Abbotsford West led in second with 14 sales, and Central Abbotsford only had 7. The price category that is most attractive to buyers is the sweet spot of detached homes that are listed and selling between $900,000 to $1 million. This price range is representing a sales to active ratio of 23%, which tells us that, hey, it's a seller's market. Tenanted properties. Buyers right now don't want to deal with homes that are tenanted. They don't show well. And the second thing is they have a hard time getting in for a showing. And the third thing is they don't want to wait 3 to 4 months before they get keys to their new home. Next, let's talk about the East Abbotsford detached market. In June, the East Abbotsford detached market represented a balanced market with a sales to active ratio of 18.2%. Days on market was 15 and months of inventory sits at 6.3%. One thing that we also found for East Abbotsford was sale prices were also down by 4.6%. Not only that, but sales in this area also fell by 3% month over month. One thing to keep in mind are these statistics that I'm sharing with you for the Abbotsford detached and the East Abbotsford detached market are macro stats, but you can even break them down further by the neighborhood. So if you're interested in buying a detached home here in Augustin or the Lower 10 Oaks area, you could break down the statistics further to find out what's happening in that neighborhood in particular. Even in a balanced market, East Abbotsford detached homes that are priced at market value are selling. Here is an important tip for Abbotsford detached buyers, whether they're looking to buy here in Central Abbotsford, West Abbotsford, or East Abbotsford. If you're interested in a particular home in a particular neighborhood, what you want to pay attention to is not only the recent sales, but more importantly, the active listings in that area. So if you find a home in Augustin that you really like that's priced at 1.1, you want to see what comparable listings are listed at. Are they listed at $1,040,000, $1,060,000, or higher? This will give you an idea around what the market conditions are for that neighborhood, how many active listings there are, how many recent sales there were, and this will give you an idea around what the home is worth in today's market. One interesting conversation that I had with my recent buyers where I can't provide them an exact price of what a home's worth, but I can give you a price range. So right now, if you're looking to buy a home here in Central Abbotsford that's 35 to 40 years old, anywhere between $999,000 to $1,030,000. This is a strategy that I used recently when representing an investor and a buyer on 2 individual purchases. And at that time, sellers came back. They had questions. In both cases, when we wrote an offer, the sellers came back with a higher counter offer. But one of the key things that I did was I provided that CMA to the seller's realtors so they could share with the sellers in regards to the competition that they're facing right now. In both cases, they agreed on the offer price that my buyers had written on based on my recommendation. Next, let's talk about what we're seeing on the ground. If you are an active buyer, you're pre-approved, you can take advantage of these market conditions. And here's what I mean. Right now, the Absford detached market has slowed down, where I would only say 50% of the buyers are active and 50% of the remainder of buyers are waiting on the sidelines. So as an active buyer that's motivated, that's pre-approved, you have leverage. So in both cases that I was talking about in previous points, my buyers were able to secure homes well below the list price. Right now, as we enter summers are usually a lot slower in comparison to the spring and the fall, which are our 2 busiest real estate markets. And a lot of families, sellers, buyers alike are taking time off. Another thing that's impacting buyer confidence in the Abbey Detached market right now is the trade war. One thing that we noticed at the last G7 summit meeting that took place in Alberta, our Canadian Prime Minister met with the US President Donald Trump, where they talked about potentially getting some sort of framework for a trade agreement by mid-July. But Carney took it one step further and he said we want some sort of agreement by July 21st. We'll see what happens, but I think we are very close to a trade agreement. And if we can reach some sort of framework or trade agreement, this would increase buyer confidence for all three property types. Next, let's talk about the Abbey townhome market. The Abbey townhome market represented a balanced market at 18.2%. Average days on market was 32, and sales for the Abbey townhome market actually dropped by 26% month over month. Interestingly, prices for Abbey townhomes were up by 6.9% in June in comparison to May. Listings are also down by 7%. Months of inventory for Abbey townhomes now sits at 6.5. Historically, we've always had low inventory for quality Abbey townhomes, and once we get some sort of trade agreement, I wouldn't be surprised if the months of inventory number fell even lower. Next, let's talk about the East Abbotsford townhome market. The East Abbotsford townhome market represented a seller's market with a sales to active ratio of 32.5%. Sales in this area jumped by 30% month over month. As a result, prices also increased by 16%. In East Abbotsford, new listings were down by 25%. So what this means for you is quality townhomes in East Abbotsford that are priced at market value are in high demand and are moving. Next, let's talk about the Abbey condo market. The Abbey condo market represented a balanced market with a sales to active ratio of 15.3%. Days on market was 30 days and months of inventory sits at 6.7. The average sale price for an Abbey condo was down by 3%, but sales were up by 11.8% in June in comparison to May. If you're a first-time home buyer looking for a one-bedroom or two-bedroom condo, these are great market conditions to take advantage of because there's a lot more inventory to choose from, with months of inventory being at 6.7, and you're facing less competition. Here's my first-time home buyer tip of the month. If you're buying a strata property, no matter if it's a condo or townhome, please always work with an experienced realtor and review the strata documents. In these documents, you will get strata minutes for your complex or your strata corporation for the last 24 months. And in these documents, you'll find data related to the operating budget. You'll find out how much money is put away in the contingency reserve fund, how the strata is managed month to month. You can review things like the financials, depreciation report, engineering report, the Form B, and the list goes on. In simple terms, these strata documents give you an overall idea about the quality of the strata corporation that you're thinking about buying your next home in. My seller tip of the month is if you are thinking of selling, don't overprice your home. Right now, as I've told you guys beginning of the month, we're dealing with almost 9 months of inventories. And with that, only 1 out of every 10 homes that's listed is selling. Next, let's talk about the Bank of Canada upcoming meeting. The next Bank of Canada meeting is taking place on July 30th. This Bank of Canada decision will be heavily influenced by the ongoing trade agreement or trade war that you want to say that we have with the US. Do you still have questions about what it's really like living in Absford? Well, download my free home buyer's guide by clicking the first link in the comments below. Are you ready to buy an Absford detached home? That's why you need to watch the video on the side, because I'm going to walk you through a list of steps that you can do to steal a home in our current market. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below about what you think is happening in the Absford detached, townhome, and condo market. And if you found today's content valuable, please go ahead and hit the like button and the subscribe button. I'm Gary Dhindsa, and we'll see you next time.